Okay.
Let's get this off. You don't need that. And then, Sean, do you want the money chain?
No money for
I got mine.
Oh, you're right. All right, hold on. Give me a sec.
Hi, I'm Christy Honeycutt. I'm your host for Inside the C-Suite, where execs get real about leadership, impact, and what truly drives high-stake decisions. I'm super excited to have on the show today Sean Behr, CEO of Fountain. Welcome to the show.
Christy, it's great to be here.
I am so excited to meet you, and I chatbot GPT'd you today for a quick overview. And I think everyone knows what Fountain is, but would you share that with the audience that may not know?
Hopefully, ChatGPT said wonderful things about me. You'll have to let me read it after, but and hopefully it said great things about Fountain, because that's really the most important thing. Fountain is a frontline tool set. So basically, think of a company that's focused on how do we hire and retain and manage frontline workers around the world. And it's been our passion for the last almost 10 years now, focused on this 2.7 billion people who, they're not on their computer all day. They're working in a restaurant, they're working in a factory, they're driving a truck, they're delivering food, they're in a grocery store. So that's our passion. So we focus on, we're trying to open opportunities for that workforce around the world.
I love it. But I know you have a lot of adoption. I'm really familiar with this population as well. I know the average hourly worker applies to anywhere from 8 jobs at a time, and they're not hearing back, right? And so it's not, for me, it's not a human experience. So I'm curious how you're keeping the tag human and the person first.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, your 8 to 10 is so good. I think the smartphone is sort of a double-edged sword. So on the positive side, it makes it really, really easy to apply for jobs. Like, you can just swipe and click a couple buttons and then quick apply. The downside is quick apply, right? It makes it so easy to apply. It used to be more work to apply for a job, which meant there was less competition for the best people. Like, you didn't apply to 8 jobs, you applied to 2 or 3. Now you apply 8, 10, 12, 15 jobs. It makes it that much more challenging for the employer to kind of get the right person, engage them, keep them in. Your human point is a great one. What we talk about at Fountain is like hugs and nudges. Hugs and nudges.
Okay.
So if you find people that you think are going to be a great employee for your company, one, you want to kind of nudge them along. You want to kind of remind them, text them, along with your own branding and how you speak, your own kind of employer brand. But then you also want to hug them. You want to give them a virtual hug, say okay, look, Christy, we're so excited about your candidacy. Did you know that we offer tuition reimbursement? If you want to chat with us, let us know. We'd love to talk to you. So we're kind of trying to keep it human, while at the same time kind of nudging people along, because you have to assume if they're applying to 8, you've got to kind of be the person in front in order to get them, especially the ones that are really, really great for your brand and your company.
So I love how technology has evolved over the years. I've been in talent probably 20 years, and I led one specific client that was local, and we hired about 5,000 hourly workers a year. So I had a team of 12 people just to help take phone calls and answer questions from candidates, because the population at that point, we were putting them through essentially salary interview, right? The same process, which doesn't work in technology. And I love the technology has gotten and it's been able to elevate the experience for the career. But I'm curious, how has Fountain kind of helped elevate that for your clients?
Yeah, it's a great point. And so is Stu. Inside there, we should. I think we have to come to kind of the realization that Office HQ staff is a different worker profile than your average frontline worker. Both are mission critical to the business. Frankly, the MGM casino doesn't work unless there are baristas and waiters and waitresses and hostesses and dealers and all kinds of things. You could argue they're actually more important than maybe the marketing team or the sales team or even the HR team that's in the kind of the C-suite or the HQ. But it is a very different process. If you're hiring an office worker or a knowledge worker, you're typically hiring very few of them. You're hiring like one director of digital marketing, maybe
Right.
two. If you're hiring waiters or waitresses, you're hiring hundreds. If you try to take the same approach, the same technology, and the same process, and put hundreds of waiters through it, you'll hire no one. Just to give you kind of a couple of tangible examples that I think the audience can relate to is most of us that come to HR tech, for instance, have a LinkedIn profile
Yes.
that we keep updated, and we update it
Or
post-
digital business.
or a digital business
Yes.
card. We have a CV or a resume that we keep relatively up to date. We have a laptop that we work on, and we write lots of emails. The average frontline worker does not have a LinkedIn profile.
No. Or a resume.
Or a resume.
Yeah.
And so if you, just a simple thing, if you ask frontline workers for a resume, people will just not apply for your job. Especially since I can go to another job and all I have to do is click 2 buttons on my phone and I'm applying to a job that doesn't require a resume. So that's kind of the core difference between it. The way that Fountain handles this is we make it really easy for candidates to engage and apply for jobs. And then we give tools to the employer to figure out, of the thousands of people who are applying for this job, which ones are the right ones, which ones should I run really fast and wrap in a hug, and maybe which ones aren't a good fit for me. Very quickly, if you're applying to work at a restaurant and you're 14 years old, it's not a fit.
Right. And
So-
you not have a resume.
Correct.
So I'm curious. So, obviously, there's a lot in the space, and there's a lot of old school HR and old school management that just feels you have to have a resume. If you want a job, you need a resume. How do you guys combat that?
Yeah, I think it's like the proof is in the eating. Like that's not the proof is not in the pudding. The proof is in the eating. And like what we find is just A/B test it, right? And what we find is you get actually higher quality candidates when you open the door and you allow people that maybe don't have even access to writing a resume. It doesn't actually tell you if they're going to be a really good grocery store employee. Like the ability to put bullet points on a document isn't actually a natural indicator that you'll be great as a cashier. It's like it's sort of off. And so we try to encourage our customers to do that. Most of our customers embrace that, especially when they can see it in the data.
Oh, I love that. The data is like such a huge thing. So, quick question for you. There's been some HR tech, there's been some really big announcements. Lots of organizations like yours are getting involved with them and acquired.
Yeah.
Most recently, we all know Workday and Paradox. Does that put additional pressure on you and the team and Fountain?
I don't think it puts more pressure on us. I would say actually, for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been singing from the rooftops how important frontline workers are. Even before COVID, I think we all learned during COVID how essential workers were. Everything is great until you go to the grocery store and there's no cereal on the shelf, or toilet paper, or paper towels, or whatever it is, right? We all learned how important that population of workers were to our daily life. We learned that. Unfortunately, it's a painful lesson to learn as a society and at large, but we learned how important those workers are. Fountain's been talking about frontline workers for years. It's been our whole focus as a company. There are 2.7 billion of these people around the world who do the most important work on the front line of our economy. It makes sense that very large companies are sort of saying, hang on a second, we need to do something for this population of workers. And so we're excited that lots of organizations are sort of starting to perk up and say, these workers are really important. What can we do from a technology perspective to make them? So I think it elevates everyone here at HR Tech who's focused on this population of workers, including them.
Oh, that's such a great answer. And so politically answered correctly.
Yeah, it's politically correct. And it's also like in our heart. I mean, like there's so much, especially with, AI, which is obviously everywhere here. It's so easy. You can build companies in anything now. Like it's so easy to build things. It's a question is, can you build something that you're passionate about? And can you kind of combine the things you can build with what do you really want to do in the world? I I think frontline is just kind of where our hearts are at.
So I love speaking to leaders about how hard what they're doing and really hard for the employees or the people that are doing it. So I've got a question for you. So this is speak to a lot of CEOs, a lot of different companies, and there's a I'm going to call them it, but they think that so you've got two different populations. You've got people that have been tasked with going out and finding new technology, including AI, right, to make us more efficient. This is your job. But there's usually not any parameters. The people aren't really sure what to do. And then you come here to HR tech and you walk around, it's really confusing because everyone is saying AI, AI, we do this, we do that. And I've heard senior HR leaders go, we can't tell the difference outside of the salesperson being really nice. And I'm just curious what your guidance would be for this population because you're being told CTOs and CIOs should be making more decisions. I happen to believe it needs to be a come together decision because if the CTO purchases something for me and I have to use it and I don't like it, it's going to die. Right? It's going to die on the vine and then you're one trillion. So I'm just curious what your thought is as a leader about why the many people are looking for a solution.
Yeah, such a great question, especially if you walk around here. I don't think there's any booth here at HR Tech that does not have some AI something in it. And by the way, I'm not shaming anyone. Fountain, of course, we're big AI. We're investing heavily in AI. What I would say to specifically HR leaders, two things I'd say, in two or three things I'd say about AI. The first is, make sure that how you embrace AI is a partner that gives you the ability to move your needle where your organization is comfortable. The reality is large organizations are going to come to AI at different pace. Some may say, we're all in. AI is everything. We can't wait. We're adventuresome. We want to go for it. Other companies are going to say, no, like, we don't want to be last, but we don't want to be first. We're going to go slow. One of the things that Fountain does is to say, we have a tool set that you can try AI a little bit, and then as you get more comfortable and as your organization evolves and becomes more comfortable, you can turn the dial up. So that's kind of the first thing I'd say about AI. The second thing I'd say is you are not behind. I think there's a tendency that, especially for HR leaders, to feel like there's some AI geniuses out there and I'm not one of them. The space is evolving so fast, the technology is evolving so fast, it doesn't take a lot to become pretty expert at AI. Go out, talk to some other leaders who are doing it, and you'll find that like in a matter of weeks and months, you will become the AI expert at your company, like pretty quickly. And the last thing I'd say about AI, I think your point about the CTO, the CFO, whose responsibility is it? I think it should be the HR leader should be running towards AI. The reason I say that is not only to help improve the people function, but to set the example for the rest of the organization. Right? If the people team who's in charge of all of the culture and all of the goings on inside the company is embracing AI, it sort of gives every other department, it sets an example, it sets the bar high for every other department in the company. I would love to see HR leaders become like CHRO and I lead all our AI activities in the company. It'd be amazing.
Well, and I talk a lot about PR for HR because I think that these folks do so much, right?
Yeah.
And everyone expects them to be a counselor and a lawyer and all of it. An AI expert, who knows what they expect them to be. But at the end of the day, they need to sit at the table, and they're not going to have a seat at the table if they don't embrace change and what's best for the end user. And I think that's great. So if somebody was looking to really work with Fountain, they're curious, what are some indicators of a good match for you guys?
Yeah, great question. So the first thing is frontline workers need to be pretty important to the organization. And that's kind of like table stakes for us. If you don't have any frontline workers, we would love to talk to you, but you're probably not a good fit for the Fountain product suite. So that's kind of the first thing. The second thing I would say is an interest in sort of transformational change in the way that you hire, engage, and retain frontline workers is a really good indicator of this is a great potential customer for Fountain. The reality is Fountain is a transformational technology. It changes dynamically how companies hire and retain workers. It produces extraordinary results. And it kind of is one of those things where you use it and you can't remember what the old world was like because the new one is so great. You're like, yeah, why did it take so long to do this? So we look for people who are like, I want to set a new standard at our company. I want to transform the way that we handle frontline workers and engage frontline workers and retain frontline workers. That's a really good sense that you should be a Fountain customer. So if you're somebody listening and you really want to transform the way that you work with frontline workers, definitely reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you.
I think that's great. So, and I heard this a lot back in the day. So, okay, yeah, I've got a lot of frontline workers, but what about my salary?
Yeah.
How does Fountain use that?
I think that's actually an area that AI is really powerful in. So one thing that's amazing about us, right? One, we always start with that frontline worker in mind. That's like our kind of North Star.
Right.
But increasingly our customers come to us and they're like, this is really good for frontline workers. Is there any way that our salaried office workers could also use it? Sure, no problem. We actually have customers who we have an I-9 product. Nobody loves I-9s. They're terrible to fill out, but we all have to do it. Our product is so easy to use. We have customers who come to us and they're like, I know you did this for our frontline staff. Our HQ staff hates I-9s too. Could they use it? Yeah, no problem. You also think about our primary communication method at Fountain is via text message or WhatsApp, depending on where you are in the world. I think most office workers also are texting a whole lot, right? So sure, you want to engage with your employees via text message. You don't actually care whether they're in the front line or in the office. So that's kind of how I would say it.
I think it's more of a perceptual shift, right? For texting, it's changing. The future work is changing. Well, it's changed. It's here. It's either you're on or you're off. Yeah, it's definitely here. So as we kind of, so I've been thinking about this all day because I have a 20-year background in talent, and I really love that.
Yes.
My brother actually called me, my bigger brother, he got his first job out of high school, worked his entire life, was about 4 promotions. This is internal mobility. So their ATS system calls me success. I'm up for promotion, but they can't process me until I submit another resume. I was like, but you've worked here for 7 years.
Yes, exactly.
And he goes, I know. So HR, do something different.
Do something different, exactly.
So I said, we got you. So I just whipped it up.
Whipped it up for him, yeah.
But not everybody has a Christie in your office,
Yes.
right? But it is just, I think we do need to encourage and, like you said, love on the HR team.
Exactly.
Let them know it's okay to change. You have people in your corner. And it's in such a weird space where TA and HR have been under attack over the past few years. We have some athletes out of work.
Yeah.
Just everything's moving
really, really fast.
really, really fast. And I think it's very, there's a hesitancy I've seen in HR in selecting the wrong thing. So I was actually leading people at an organization that did an audit, 2 of everything, everywhere, 5 systems doing the same thing.
Yes.
One was built by someone that moved on. And out of the 5, I think one was actually somewhat being used, but the links were broken. So to your point of HR should own it, yes, they should own it because those purchases were made by the finance department who had nothing to do with the people team or how that was interacting. I just love the wisdom.
I also think, the smartphone and sort of the apps and the things that we use in our personal life have actually made our expectations higher for what we use at work. You're on your own phone, you're reading, you're playing a game, you're doing something, and it's this amazing experience and you love it. And then you open up your HRIS system at work and you're like, I can't believe I have to click all these buttons. This looks terrible. It's so cumbersome. You go to your HR team and you're like, I don't love this system. Why can't it be more like TikTok or whatever app happens to be out there?
Well, we have micro attention spans nowadays.
Exactly.
If you think about how we communicate, because I'm going to age myself a lot, but I remember the rotary dial phone, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching TV. You had the click clicker
Yeah.
and with the wire.
Right.
And to me, it was the bottom one down and the first button.
exactly.
But we moved to this state where it's hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah,
We've got
absolutely.
LinkedIn, you've got
Right.
Instagram, you've got socials, and then communication. I remember when you would get a text, that was like the very first time, right?
Yeah,
And now I get a text to see if I can take the call.
Oh, yeah.
I get a text to see if I can text.
yeah. And then you also get a text from like some company that you bought jeans from, and they're like, "Would you like to come back and buy more jeans?" So
No, let's not talk about the Bahamas. We're all going to start getting advertisements. But with the way that the communication is changing in our world so quickly, it just throws me for a loop because we have to make it different. We want it differently.
Yeah.
I think I saw it once and going, use the app. And I'm like, I don't want to download another app. But we're working in a multi-generational workforce right now. And
Absolutely.
I think communication just within that dimension alone is different. And then how do we work together as a team?
Yeah. Totally agree. And again, for frontline workers, that smartphone, that text message, that is the delivery mechanism. That is how to reach them. If you try to do something else, you're likely going to fail.
Well, and I'm curious too, like if you guys have seen from your data, because I'm sure you're watching all of the data, is do you see like a certain time that these people are engaging? Is it weird?
Yeah, it's actually fascinating. We have an interview product. Obviously, it's an AI interview product. It's incredible. But 40% of the interviews are actually happening during non-business hours. The reason is most frontline workers they're working a shift. They can't just like take 30 minutes to do a call at 9:30 in the morning. They're on the call. What they can do is they can call you at 7 p.m. tonight. Maybe after they drop their kids off or pick their kids up or make dinner. That's when they can do the interview. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of recruiters kind of sitting around at 8 p.m. waiting for calls. 20% of our interviews are happening between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. local time. Like these are people who are finishing maybe a night shift. They're looking for another opportunity, engaging with an employer, having an interview, and right after they're figuring out, okay, is this a place I want to work?
So would you say that that is enabling your clients to work when you're asleep?
Correct. Recruiting while you sleep is if that's not our tagline, we ought to have it.
Marketing,
get on it. Christy's hired.
So we had a chance to get to meet each other, guys. I just met this one today, and I just love him already. You say things like "heart, you're a girl dad."
Yes.
I love so with the leaders I talk to, I want to really want to know your heart because it's accomplished a lot. I don't care about your educational background, frankly. I really care about what you're doing for your employers, your partners, your clients, and their community.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you, what makes you tick, because I know you were the first angel.
Yes, I was the first investor in Fountain, and now the CEO. So I've like invested. I was a customer. I was an unpaid intern for a while, a board member, CEO. But I think like when I think about heart, this is my fourth startup journey. One in e-commerce, one in advertising technology, one in automotive technology, now one in people technology. And I think that the reason why I invested, the reason why I work here, the reason why I'm inspired by the founders around the world, there's something important and fulfilling about when we build technology and someone clicks those buttons, someone actually gets a job. They actually get like an opportunity for the next step in their journey, their career. There's something really, really powerful about that. Taking nothing away from like having better, commercials on the internet, better ads and better targeting and more boxes showing up at your house. Those are wonderful things to do for the world. There's something really powerful about a human being finding their next job, their next opportunity, maybe for a company that they're going to work for 7 or 10 years, and eventually get promoted. Like that's
hopefully they won't have to call their sister.
Yes, hopefully they don't have to call their sister. But what's really amazing about it, I say this internally in the company, it's a mission worth doing. Even if we weren't getting paid, even if the software was free, it's worth doing. It's the right thing to do. It's worth doing. It's a mission that I would do even if they didn't pay me. just a little bit about what makes me tick.
I love it. Well, and you're a girl dad.
Yes.
And you can tell from your smile that
Yes.
they're very spoiled.
Yes, they. I hope they love me.
Safe to say that my friend says, oh, my kids are spoiled, but they're not spoiled by.
That's good. I'm gonna have to figure out if I can get them some like stuffy things from HR Tech to go to some booth and.
There's some parrot. Have you had a chance to walk around?
I have not worked on it a little bit, but if there's a parrot with like an AI on it,
There is, I don't remember which one it was, but there was a parrot. There's some brilliant one.
yeah, it's really great.
I will say there was two that was my favorite. One is the, and I feel bad that I can't tell you who the company is, but they were doing basketball parrots.
Parrot basketball.
I mean,
Sounds right.
It's cool.
With
And-
AI, obviously.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
AI is somewhere in there.
AI.
And then there's another company around that's doing aura readings.
Ah,
And I got to tell you,
at HR Tech.
yeah, at HR Tech, I got some good aura.
Aura, I love
was
it.
really happy.
Really great.
Spot on. So, what are you guys doing to kind of stand out in front of this year?
Yeah, I mean, our focus again, I think one thing we're doing is focus exclusively on frontline. That's like our, if we do nothing else, making sure that everybody in the industry knows that when they think of frontline, they think of frontline. That's like mission critical for us. And then the second thing is, can we turn HR people into what we call 10Xers? I have a tech background. In technology, what you have are 10X engineers. That's just a concept. But there are these engineers who are just like superstars. They can do 10 times the amount of work as anybody else, or they produce 10 times more outcome
Right.
than everybody else. That concept doesn't really exist in HR. We don't have.
It needs to.
It needs to
just
be like 10Xers. And I think we know there's some people out there that are like, they're just incredible. Imagine being able to turn your entire HR team into a team of 10Xers. There's 10 times better outcomes, 10 times more outcome. Again, to help this frontline workforce. So it's our focus.
I love it. And it's such an important focus, and it just helps us win, right? Nobody wants to go and not have the service that we
Exactly.
need. And guys, if you're interacting with frontline workers, please be kind.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Be kind.
Kind.
Yes, good or be kind.
Yeah,
Also.
it's great.
So what do you like to do when you're not speaking with me and you're not at the conference? I hear that you keep your calendar as tight as I do.
Yes, I have a very, very busy schedule.
And God
I
bless
spend-
your assistants.
Yes, my assistant is wonderful. I spend a lot of time with my family. I'm as I mentioned, a girl dad. So if I'm not talking about frontline workers, I'm probably at a playground or taking them for hamburgers or something like that.
No extreme sports.
No extreme sports. I try to go to the gym as much as I can.
Well, before we end, so I always like to ask this for wise sage
Yeah.
leaders like yourself, but is there a time that you failed? And if there was, what did you learn?
Yeah, the biggest learning for me, yes, first of all, as an entrepreneur, it's mostly failure.
And I know true leaders when they sit here and go, which one? Or tell me.
It's mostly failure. Like, if you're building something new, and no one has ever built a frontline operating system that helps you hire and retain frontline workers at scale, it's never been done. If it had been done, I would be doing something else. So it's kind of a brand new thing. We're always failing, always.
Yes.
The thing that I think I learned from failure, and inside our company we talk a lot about it, right, is like, it isn't that you fail, it's how quickly can you recognize that you failed and move forward. That's like the thing, and I think in the past, like, I've built products that ultimately did not work. The mistake wasn't building the product. It was taking too long to realize that they weren't going to work and making the change. And so for Inside Foundry, we talk a lot about speed. We think speed cures everything. So for us, it isn't the big that eat the little. Everyone's worried that there's some big company over here that will beat them. What I would say is, it's not the big that eat the little, it's the fast that eat the slow.
Ooh, it's not the big that eat the little.
The fast that eat
The
the
fast that
slow.
eat the slow. That may be a quote.
Take it.
I'm gonna take it.
So anyway, that's what I've learned from my many failures in entrepreneurship.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this time, and
Really
I'm so
fun.
grateful that I chased you.
Yes, this
To
is
get
great.
you
I'm so
guys,
glad
I
it
had to
worked out.
stalk him, so thank you, Mountain Tea. And I'm so glad it worked out. It's a
Absolutely.
pleasure to meet you.
Really great.
Your heart shines through in who you are and your product, so I am excited to see where it goes next.
Really great. Thanks so much.
And for those of you who joined us, thank you so much. Please go to Work to Find, follow, like, and check out Inside the C-Suite and connect with this guy and Fountain and the team. You guys are over there.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye.